hard to get a perspective on a presidency of the unpredictable. A year after the heady haze of Donald Trump's victory, the political landscape in America is etched with enthusiasm and indignation. But in the furnaces, factories and foothills of Utah, something more subtle that explains his enduring appeal. Utah has a complicated relationship with Donald Trump. Politically, it's broadly aligned with him and his pro-business message has gone down very well. But morally, this deeply religious state has often been at odds with him, uncomfortable with some of his language and behavior. After a presidential race played out in Technicolor, the feelings towards America's leader here and in so much of the country just aren't black and white. Donald Trump brought a megaphone to Washington, kicking off with tough talk on immigration.
We're going to have a very, very strict ban, and we're going to have extreme vetting.
In the Supreme Court, he secured a more lasting legacy. From hiring to an explosive firing that reignited the Russia investigation.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria.
And a new approach to America's friends and enemies.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
And one thing the administration can and will keep coming back to, the economy.
Jobs, 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 jobs.
You can hear the optimism at the top of Mighty Light, a global manufacturer of furniture south of Salt Lake City.
In his first year in office, the stock market is higher than it's ever been, the economy is very strong. As I said, unemployment is as low as it's ever been. And whether you want to attribute it directly to him or not, the fact of the matter is that after a year in office and all the turmoil surrounding it, the economy still remains as strong or stronger than it's ever been. So he has to get some credit for that.
The president can lay claim to the most substantive change to US tax law in 16 years, the kind of massive corporate cut Republicans have been after for decades. On the factory floor, hope and doubt. What do you make of what you've seen from Donald Trump so far?
So far, I have enjoyed and I'm pleased to see what he's done.
What have you liked?
The tax plan for 2018, it's going to be very beneficial to my family, so I'm pleased to see that it's happened.
He just seems like he wants to go to war with everyone. The way he wants to tweet and getting these little Twitter feuds with everybody instead of focusing on his job as running our country.
It saddens me that there's so many Democrats and so many people that are trying to tear him apart when he's done a lot of good things, and a lot of things are not even televised that he's doing.
There may be more for billionaires to capture than low-paid America, but they are both expected to feel some benefit. Utah is known as the beehive state because its people are so industrious, and some of them can see early echoes of their own success in the president's push on construction, manufacturing and mining.
If you look from a broad perspective of where the president has wanted to go and where he's been working with Congress, the policies and the strategy is where Utah's probably been going for generations. We've headed down the direction of being aggressive as a state in terms of being open to business, to allowing the state to let the private sector drive the economy, grow the economy, produce jobs, hire more individuals, pay more wages, produce more taxes. And I think the president's vision, it mirrors that.
You have to look deeper though. Progress is a game of perception, and US Synthetic, an industrial diamond drill manufacturer, live it every day.
So in this environment where oil price is a little bit higher, it's a little bit more healthy, stable environment, we're able to take advantage of those opportunities without feeling constraints from the administration.
But here's the rub. They get some of their vital components from South Korea, and the president's war of words with Pyongyang has cost them.
We have critical materials that come from that part of the world. And so when we feel like there's a little bit of geopolitical instability in that part of the world, we have to stockpile some of that material to buffer that risk. That means that the dollars that we would normally put into other investments go into stockpiling some material.
And are you doing that more in the past year than you have in previous years?
Yes, absolutely.
And in a state built by religious exiles, people are uneasy about the immigration crackdown.
I feel like a lot of the programs that Obama brought up for kids that, you know, for these types of individuals, you know, and not being ripped away from them, it's affecting a lot of us who earn credit, bought cars, bought homes, build their lives, have kids.
You can see a telling trade-off here. Utah is 60% Mormon, a church that is pro-life and anti-gay marriage. Many of its followers have kept faith in the Republican agenda, even if at a funeral for their prophet, there is discomfort about Donald Trump's conduct and rhetoric.
I think we would do better to have someone with, I don't know, better morals.
I know he's a little bit brash, a little bit brazen sometimes, but I think he has a good heart and he means well in leading the nation.
I just hope that he can really fulfill his purpose in unifying the nation, and you know, I pray for him in that.
I recognize him as a leader, a strong leader, and I think we need him in our country right now.
The Republican Party may have splintered under the weight of change. It certainly hasn't cracked. Everyone has an eye on the midterms in November, though, and here they're pinning some hope on a returning Mitt Romney and any other establishment figure who could help protect their conservative values.
You know, if I were to say one thing to the president, and let's find language that helps us and moves us forward rather than kind of muddles us in conversations that really don't help.
He's used an expletive to describe other nations. Do you accept that that was a racist remark?
Look, I've gotten to know Mr. Trump. I don't believe that he's racist, but he says some things that certainly make people wonder.
Grabbing women in a certain area.
Unacceptable.
Retweeting anti-Muslim videos.
Unacceptable.
Criticising his administration.
Unacceptable.
And yet you still support him?
Well, of course. I mean, I don't know a single leader that is perfect. And if you find one thing that someone says and you say, I can no longer support you because of that, then you end up supporting no one. Look, he cares about Americans that feel like they've been forgotten. people in parts of our country that have really struggled now for a generation. And one thing I've become convinced of, he's actually trying to help those people.
In the pristine corners of southern Utah, that appears to involve letting go. America is a vast and complex country, and here in the Valley of the Gods, it feels like you're on another planet, about as far removed from the Washington bubble as you can imagine. But Donald Trump's reach has extended to this majestic landscape, and it's created a new heated frontier of debate. This is the heart of Bears Ears National Monument, a million-acre wilderness and sacred site for Native Americans. The president wants to scale it back, something that could lift regulations on grazing cattle and mining. A plan that's pitting environmentalists against others who want more state control.
We want to see a reduction in the monuments, keep the tourists out.
So you can have it to yourself?
Yeah, basically, yes.
I think it's insane. These lands have been collected through the years from Theodore Roosevelt on forward to protect for everybody to enjoy. And for some reason they must be looking at some monetary gain or something, but not many of us are agreeing with the idea.
If I were having a dinner party, I would want Barack Obama to come over. He's charming. If I wanted decisions made, I would want Donald Trump to make them. Now, I don't want to be his best friend. He's crude. He's to the point, but he's, I think, getting things done if Congress will let him.
Donald Trump's destiny may be defined by how much space others are willing to give him. But one thing is for certain, he shows no sign of changing with the seasons. He is in permanent campaign mode, and however distasteful his critics may find his outlook, no one can assume now he'll fade into the distance. He may well be in charge for another 7 years.